Hi, I'm Jennifer Marshall. I do the registration and transportation for the district. Hold against me. If you have a current UPK student that is here now, that is going into kindergarten, you will get your additional paperwork on Monday. They're going to be sent home with the children. If your child is not currently here in a UPK program and you signed up online to get a registration packet, if you want to see me, I have them. So if you want, if you want me to go on the place, yeah, the data, I'm gonna give you one. You want to hold at the end? Go ahead. Anybody now? I'm going to fix with yours. You're allowed to. Welcome. Yeah. I can see last name. Just a children. Sure.
Don't be shy, come up front now. So this line is if you do not have a current student enrolled in UPK here at Parkdale. If you have a student already at UPK at Parkdale, you're getting your registration on Monday. This is for parents that have a kindergarten at a different location. I mean, you can get so.
Okay, so if you go online, onto the district website, I have registration. Oh, sorry. There's a few sites online too that I could use.
Folks, good evening. We're going to get started. So we're just going to ask if you don't mind to turn your cell phones off for just a minute or put them on vibrate in case you need a babysitter. We totally understand that. My name is Kim Crowley Brown. I am the kindergarten lead teacher. These are our fabulous principals, Ms. Pantola, Ms. Parker. So they're going to talk to you first. And then I'm going to fill you in on the kindergarten today, and we're going to take any questions you have at the end. So thank you for coming. And if you think of something, just jot it down on a piece of paper and answer something at the end. Okay, thanks for coming.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tahani Pantoja, and I am the proud principal of Parkdale Elementary School. Just to do a little who's in the audience, raise your hand if you currently have any children at Parkdale, including UPK. That's quite a few. Excellent. Raise your hand if you have you're brand spanking new to Parkdale. Never been here. Wow, that's great. Welcome, welcome.
You'll love it.
Raise your hand if you went to Parkdale. Yeah. Welcome back. I'm going to say something that's going to say a few of us, but raise your hand if you had Mrs. Kim Crowley Brown or one of your students did. Yeah. All right. Well, welcome back. Again, welcome here to Parkdale today. We're going to really have a quick informal conversation about what we do, how we do it, and answer any of your questions that you might have regarding kindergarten. Sounds like the majority of you have had lots of experiences at Parkdale. I can say this to you now. I'm only 2 years in, but the amazing community that we have here in East Aurora and at Parkdale just blows anything you've ever experienced out of the water. And so I'm proudly today going to talk to you a little bit about how things go here at Parkdale. But more importantly, we're going to give you kind of a day in the life of what our students in the kindergarten kind of experience with Kim Crowley Brown, as well as the rest of the wonderful kindergarten team. So we know this is an exciting time for you and your children. We know that here at Parkdale, we want to create a very strong foundation. We are so lucky that we are in our second year of UPK. The amazing opportunities that we've been able to offer with a very brand new developing program has just been an amazing experience. We see our students, and my goodness, parents, they're walking in hallways, they're waving, they're making friends. It's amazing what we're seeing in terms of our UPK. So thank you to all of you who do have children here currently. It has been an amazing experience. I know originally when we first said, oh goodness, we're going to add 3 more classes, and that didn't come until later. We were like, what? We literally have a UPK program. But because we have this amazing staff here and very committed individuals and a community, not just of staff members, but people who reside here, people who actually have their own children here, it is just such a natural fit. And I know that you'll find a linkage to coming into the school age will be the same, very community-based, and you're going to enjoy it. At Parkdale, we have what's called Parkdale Pride. All of our children, we participated in SEL curriculum. That curriculum is called Purposeful People, where we talk about citizenship, respect, very important, kindness, empathy. And we have our school-wide program that everyone engages in, including parents at home. We actually send reminders for parents in our weekly parent newsletter. And it gives you some great activities to do with your children at home. Many of you might be sitting there and wondering, is my child ready? Well, don't you worry. They are ready. They are ready. We are ready. No matter what, we are ready. Again, the staff here, we understand children have unique needs. We understand all kids are different, and we celebrate those differences. And we celebrate each and every one of them and provide the things we need. A little bit later, we're going to talk a little bit about some of what the day looks like, the schedule looks like, and some of the opportunities they will have even as a kindergartner. So again, in order to be here in a kindergarten class, you have to be 5 years old before December 1st. We want to make sure that kindergartners are prepared. But again, we have wonderful programs here that support the needs of all students that are available and ready for us. So again, we want you, and I encourage you to participate in this whole process in our families. And later on, you'll meet some of our amazing PTO parents that have participated here. And you're so engaged. And so one of the most important things that we always say is read, read, read. If you are already exposing your children at home to literature, which I'm sure many of you are, this is just a literacy-filled environment. We believe in nurturing that love of reading from the womb all the way through. So please join us in truly celebrating reading here and participating in some of the events that we have. We do have every other year literacy evening, and that's going to be well broadcast. You'll know about it before it's coming. The great thing that you're going to hear about is the communication systems we have here are make it very easy for you as busy working parents with kids at home and other things going on. We try to make it really nice and easy for you to know what's happening every single week before it happens. So I think you'll appreciate that. Those of you who are at UPK, get my Sunday night blast before the Bills game, right? We don't want to interrupt that. My Sunday night blast that come out, and it's basically a newsletter that kind of tells you what's going on this week. It helps out with the letter days, which you'll find will help you with the schedule that UPK students and pre-K students have, and to help you kind of know what's going on. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over Lauren, who's our lead teacher in kindergarten. And I can't tell you enough how her leadership has supported an amazing experience for all kindergarten students. Her leadership really helps to pull all the kindergarten teachers, so no matter who you get, your children are receiving a very similar experience. That's really important in terms of equity, and it's really attributed to the leadership of the person standing to my left. So without further ado, I hand it right over to her.
Thank you. So just wanted to touch back on that. Is my child ready for kindergarten? Because I know it's a lot of questions that some people have. If your child is a super duper late birthday, like November 29th, and I'm turning 5 December 1st, we're going to still screen. We're going to meet your child, and we're going to maybe give you some advice at that screening, just in case. Sometimes, if they're just not emotionally or socially ready, we may recommend take a little another year, but we will not. We will still take every single child that turns 5 by December 1st. But just for your own imagination, in the classroom, when students are turning 5, November 29th, and 6, December 1st, it's a really big gap. That's a pretty big, huge change. So keep that in mind. If you think your child is socially appropriate, developmentally appropriate, ready to learn, ready to come to school, ready to make friends, that's what we want. So I know the birthday is sometimes scary, it gets people nervous, but we're going to screen everyone and we'll talk at screening, just so that you know. Another way to get students ready besides reading, as Mrs. Pantoja mentioned, is games. So I've got a couple games up here. I'm not going to go through all of them. They're in this little packet that you have with some tips. Just what we want to look for are boys and girls that can share, that can take turns, that can lose gracefully. So in your house, if your little one is always winning, because it's a little bit easier that way, I hate to say it, but you might want to have them lose and maybe throw a fit at home rather than come to school and throw a fit here. So graceful losing is part of that social development. We don't expect everyone to do that, but winning and losing gracefully, winning too, and losing gracefully is a skill that we're looking for. So here's a picture of all the kindergarten teachers on Halloween. We were pirates this year. And you might be wondering how your child is going to get assigned to a classroom. We have 6 classrooms, 6 different sections, with approximately 18 to 20 this year, students in each class. I don't have the numbers for next year because registration isn't complete yet. But basically what we do is we look at the screening, we look at allergies possibly, we look at parent requests, and we try to just build like a nice little homogeneous class with the same number of boys, same number of girls. If you wanted to provide any input to us about that placement, we prefer that you don't specifically name a teacher unless you had a special situation. So if you had a child that already had me and you said, oh, I have to have her again, well, we might do that because of the family. If you had me before and said, I want my child to have a different experience, that's fine too. Put that down on a piece of paper. No feelings are ever hurt. If you have twins, and you want to keep them together, put that on that input form. If you want them apart, put that on input form. So the input form that's going to be in your registration packet is optional, but if you feel there's something that you really want us to know about, or a teacher that you really feel might blend well with your child or your family situation, please let us know that. Again, that's an optional form. Then we're going to talk about transportation. So Jen, do you want to talk about transportation or not? Sure. Really? I know it's your favorite topic. One of the things we do like to talk about too is bus, walker, or pickup. There's 3 different ways that students can arrive and be dismissed. So I'm going to let you talk about bus, and then I'm going to jump to the others.
I'm going to start off by saying if anybody wants to be a bus driver, and please come and see me. I will find you a job.
Bonus.
Yes, very exciting. I don't think you reminded me. Okay, so we have transportation for all the students. With the packet, we do ask that you put in your best estimate guess as to where your child is going to go to and from school. We cannot follow the every other week they're going to go here, every other week we're going to go there. We need it as solid as it can be. We do have a time frame that we have to get all of our information to first student because it does take a while
to put all this information together into the system to separate them into different buses. And I can promise you, my family does not see me at all during the summer. I will be up to midnight and I will be adjusting buses and I will be calling parents and emailing you. Last year I had to be, you emailed me at midnight. Yes, I did. Our bus drivers are wonderful. I am born and raised in East Aurora. My kids are in East Aurora. I have IEP 504 kids. I can't say enough. My bus drivers, a lot of them are from the area. They are like the grandparents. They love these children. They do this job because they love the kids. Can it get rambunctious at the beginning of the year? Absolutely. UBK kindergartners get very sleepy that first couple of weeks. You just gotta be patient. Kindergarten parents, when you get them, you have to be there to get them off the bus. We will not let them off the bus unless there is a parent or guardian there. If something comes up that day, you're like, they can't take the bus home, you can write a note. We ask for a hard copy note to be sent in, and we can write a pass or then choose them as a pickup or a walker. It does take a couple working days to change the mix. Let's say you start out as being walker or parent drop off, and you want to say, hey, I think you're ready for the bus. You need to give us at least, we ask for 5 working days for that to happen. Because what most people don't understand is that when we add someone to busing who has not been on it before, and let's say you're in the town, we are adding a stop, we are adding time. So it does take time to then process everyone else out and let all of those families know their time is going to be different now. So it is a long process. If there's any questions we have about busing, all of our buses are put on with like a number, but it also has a picture for the little ones. So they will have pictures at the beginning of the year that they can match it up to. Kindergarten is amazing. They're out there as a crew and they are going down and making sure everyone is getting to their place. What else? I think that's about it.
And just so you know, when we have our orientation closer to the school year, we do have a bus here. If it is your child's first time riding the bus, you can get on the bus, the kids can get familiar. It just provides they give you a little coloring, help sit down and talk to the kids. And then our first few weeks of school, we do what's called a station rotation where administrators and some of our additional staff, we do a station, and the kids pretty much go to each station and we talk about expectations and what they're supposed to do on the bus and how it's really important for you to sit down and make sure you're seated in the seatbelt and putting the seatbelt on. It's amazing how it seems very chaotic, but there's a method to the madness. When I first came here as a principal, and I saw kindergartners lining up on 15 buses with little animal name tags. It's really nerve-wracking, but it happens. And magically, in the next 2 to 3 weeks, kids are finding their own bus. There's still a lot of support, a lot of adult support, but the way it's coded, we actually have our UPK students finding their bus already, which is amazing. And it's a tribute to the structure that we have coming in and all of the rituals and routines that are formed, the lining up in the hallway, and it comes together and it is very safe, secure, and kids get with it where they need to go. So that's a big anxiety. I've been letting my child ride the bus. I can tell you we have lots of traffic, particularly because we've added 5 additional classes this year. So we have a lot of drop-offs, and a lot of times our primary students, they want to come in and they want to, parents want to get out of the car and come in. We really ask you, for the sake of the entire community, and those of you who've seen some of my newsletters know I've asked over and over again, please, it's because it backs up traffic quite a bit and it creates a little bit of a roadblock. Unfortunately, we have a beautiful campus, but it's not spread out and I'm trying to dedicate it to all of our buses. So adding those additional classes kind of sometimes creates a little bit of a backup. So just be patient. We're there to help support your child. And really, let's help together build their independence. That's what you're going to find. At Parkdale, they become little learners.
and it's amazing. We thought, oh my God, we're probably the only district, I would say, definitely in Erie County, but New York State that has transportation for UPK students. I mean, I got to clap for that because that's, and I know it's so scary to put your children on those buses, but I'm telling you, it works. And I would have never said that coming in this year. I would never believe that this would have worked. And a lot of districts stay away from it, but the kids are doing super well. It's a lot of reminders, tweaking, a lot of conversation. But we have to, and it happens. I don't want to say magical because there's a lot that goes behind it. But your support is so super necessary. So you understand buses are not the friendliest place and not the nicest place, but working with us and working with your teachers, and we make it happen. So if you're a little bit anxious about that, we understand, we're here to support you.
And if you are nervous about the bus, my recommendation is to start your child on the bus, because the beginning of the year is when it is all hands on deck. Every teacher, every helper, every aide is out there guiding, making sure every child is going exactly where they need to go. Then we slowly, end of September, start pulling back those supports. So then if you say, oh, now I want my child to ride the bus maybe in October, it's not that they can't, but I'm just saying the supports are not as intense, and we don't want the child to be nervous. So if you're like wavering, or I don't know, put them on, let them try it. Don't follow the bus on the first day. They're gonna get here, I promise. I know I almost did that with my child was little. But just put them on when they get off in the morning. I mean, really, like Mrs. Panto was right, you should see it. It is like we make these human fences and they all come in. And then if we're doing the same thing happens, they all get on. We're like, wow. It's amazing. It's amazing to see. So if you are nervous, start your child on the bus before you make that decision. But I did want to talk about walker and pickup, especially for kindergarten. So we do have a situation, like maybe you live right down here on Parkdale, or right over here on Gerard, and you want your child to be a walker. A walker pretty much means that your child can walk out of this building by themselves in front of you. So that could be a little bit intimidating. So we have a person that stands there and makes sure everyone walks out, but we don't have bodies walking the students out. So that's what a walker is. A pickup has a little more structure to it. A pickup is a student where they're all lined up here in this hallway, and the parents have to come to the same door that you just came in, show some ID, and sign each child out. A little more structured, and maybe for 5-year-olds, maybe might be a good thing. But if you live right around the corner and you just want to meet your child on the playground every single day and walk home, I totally understand that. But before you decide walker or pickup, really, kind of think about that, because that's, two different things. And when you sign for walker, we're going to open the door, obviously not the first day, but we're going to open the door and let you walk. So there's not that many kindergarten walkers. There's more pickups, but that's just a consideration.
There's one thing I do want to mention. When it comes to timing of the buses, you'll get, I don't know, I hope someday we'll change to electronic, but until then, we have these postcards that we send out. Please remember, please remember, those times are not set in stone. Because what happens is people are like, well, the bus was supposed to be here at 8 o'clock, and it wasn't here till 8:15. Guess what? The first couple of weeks, it's going to be way off. It's not going to be off. It's going to be way off, because first week, everyone's taking pictures. Stop, Jody, Kelly, it goes on, and then there's the little ones who don't want to get on the bus, and then it makes a little poster. So times are going to be off.
Afternoons as well.
Afternoons
Come home,
as
don't
well.
panic.
Because it's learning the roots, it's learning the children, it's learning the parents. So just remember, timing is going to be way, way off. I would say for at least the first 2 weeks, at least, yeah. And then, like I said, every time we adjust the schedule, it adjusts. If you ever had a question, you're like anxiety, you can call me. I think I lived here 24/7 for the first 2 months of school. Other than that, you can call them directly. Their phone number is in the, on the website for transportation. Feel free, there is someone there, either leave a message or and somebody will get back to you. Like I said, a lot of anxious parents, they're still waiting, it's been 10 minutes, it's time, they're not here yet. Feel free to get involved.
We do have a parent handbook that will go along with some of these numbers. You'll get into some of these numbers will be provided in that handbook, and then you'll have those resources accessible via the internet website also.
Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna leave the bus talk and we're gonna talk about a kindergartner's day. So basically, we run an A through F schedule. So it's kind of crazy when you're trying to teach the days of the week, but then you say it's a letter day, but then it repeats itself and it's really hard to follow. But what happens is we go A, B, C, D, E, F, and then we go back A, B, C, D, E, F. And on each one of those letter days, our students get to go and attend a really fun special class that Ms. Parker's going to talk about in just a second. But that's why we have that schedule. It's kind of so that we can spread out all of our special classes. If there's a snow day, we skip it.
Yeah.
We skip it. I don't even know sometimes. I know it's a lot of racing and we're playing book. But that's how the schedule runs. So like when you beginning of the year, you're going to get a schedule from your classroom teacher, and it's going to say on D Day is when you have live. And what is D Day? You just kind of have to count it out. It's on the calendar as well, but just so that you know that's how we run. The doors are locked all day long. From the moment the students arrive at 8:55 until dismissal, all doors are locked. So if you ever need to pick your child up, you need to go to the main office, show your ID, and that's all you'll be allowed in. Everyone has to be buzzed in. The kindergarten dress code, sneakers. All the rest is fine, but just lots of fun sneakers because little heels and super cute Western cowboy boots sometimes aren't the best playthings. So just sneakers, that's all we say. So we're going to start with the day. Basically, we start with a warm-up activity, some sort of morning work. It could be language arts, it could be computer, it could be group work. Then we go into a morning circle where we're going to do a calendar. We're going to maybe have a little bit of music. We're going to talk about our day. Someone's going to do a share. We're going to do lots of language building activities. Then we have an ELA block. It sounds long, but it's about an hour and a half of ELA a day, not all at one time with your child sitting there, broken up into small pieces. So maybe we'll do a little story, and then maybe a little freestance, and then maybe talk about the story, and then maybe a little the floor is lava, and then maybe some letters. So we just like keep them moving the whole time. But there's lots of great learning going on. We do a lot of big books, we do a lot of shared stories, we do a lot of think alouds as we read stories, and we're focusing on all those reading skills. When your child comes in, we're going to start by identifying letter sounds, not necessarily just the letters, but what sound does that letter make? And then we're going to start blending those together into three sounds. Right now we're at almost at 4. So they could do like at and say it's cat. And so now they're starting to read. And they're going to take that and they're going to put it into a sentence. So now they might have like fat, cat, and now they're writing 2 words. And then they're going to learn a sight word, and then they're going to write the fat cat. And as a kindergarten teacher, when that happens, it's the most beautiful experience. So that's what goes on in ELA. Then we have another hour during the day of math sometime again. Lots of hands-on, lots of manipulatives. Our goals is counting to 100, so feel free to start practicing that if you feel like it. We're going to do addition and subtraction facts to 5. We're going to talk about shapes. We're going to do 2-dimensional shapes, 3-dimensional shapes. We're going to solve word problems with number sentences. You're going to be amazed by the end of kindergarten what your child can do. We also have science and social studies kind of embedded within our curriculum. So our social studies is done through our Scholastic News Weekly magazine, which has videos, games, and worksheets that go along with it. And our science is also incorporated in what we call Listen and Learn. It's an ELA time where we kind of sit on the carpet. Each classroom is equipped with one of these beautiful smart boards, and some pictures are up, and they're listening, looking at the picture, and then lots of comprehension questions to answer. So some of our science topics are embedded there. We do also have a few science kits that come in from our Board of Corporate Education Services, and those are all hands-on and a lot of fun. Every day we also have some centers where the students get to go around and try different activities. Some are academic-based, some are play-based. Beginning of the year, more play-based, now more academic-based, which just kind of as we developmentally grow, that's what happens. Then we get to that thing called lunch. So lunch is a really interesting experience. 120 very small children all at one time in the cafeteria. Some buying a tray with pizza and a milk carton and fruit and trying to hold it, which you would be amazed what they can do right now, but the first week is a little challenging. Some bringing a lunch, but everybody kind of just sitting around and talking and laughing and having a good time. The thing that is the hardest part about the beginning of kindergarten and lunch is if you do bring or if you send your child with a lunch, are the packaging kind of things that are in the lunches. So if it's a really nice mozzarella cheese stick, but your child really can't feel it yet, well, then they might have to raise their hands, which is a great thing. But maybe there's 1 or 2 aids in the room for 120 cheese sticks, and then your child really wants that cheese stick. So I would say over the summer, if you have picnics or you do fun things like that, please stop opening packages for your child and just say, can you try it? So can you try to use your pinchers and pull that bag of Doritos open? Or can you peel that fruit cup back without it spilling all over the place? So all of these little things that I know you're doing because it's easy, I'm leaving them on, okay? And you just want to do it, you want to jam that straw and freeze on it over, you go enjoy it. We need you guys to just, like summer, just to kind of back off a little and let them learn how to open some of those materials. If your child is really struggling, because some of them, just their hands are too small or their muscles aren't built up yet, then maybe don't send them in those kind of packaging and take them out. Put it in a piece of foil that they can open, or those bento boxes is another thing that you have to work on opening. But they have little sections and people bring those in with fruit, and the first week grapes are flying, strawberries are everywhere, but they get it. So just have some picnics over the summer and bring back lunches if you want to do that. If you are somebody that wants to purchase a lunch, all the students will get a card, and it has a number on it, and it's attached to your account. So your credit card is linked to it, and you get charged for their lunch. So make sure you're telling your child that you really want them to buy, because sometimes they see something that looks really tasty, and all they have to do is put that little card down, and they get a delicious lunch. So that's how lunch goes. We either have buyers or what we call bringers. So those are 2 kind of lunch things. We don't really do the snacks that they sell for the older grades in kindergarten, because as I was just talking about that really cute card, somebody realizes that that number can get them ice cream, some chocolate chip cookies, and pretzels. So they will take that card and fill their tray with all of this ice cream, and then you'll get the bill and go, oh my gosh, how did you spend all of your money? And it's because the snacks were devoured. So we kind of just say no snacks right now for the cafeteria for kindergarten. We may open it up like at the end of the year, just to get ready for first grade as special treats and start out like in June. But we kind of just say, send your own snacks in if you don't mind. Every day, since our lunch is not until 1:05, we come in at 9, we need snack time. So we encourage you to send in a good, nice snack. We want it to be healthy, but we want it to be enough to sustain from like 10:30 to 1:00. Depending on classrooms, you'll be notified by your classroom teacher if there's any allergies in the room. So if it's an allergy, perhaps nut-free room, you just have to keep that in mind when you're doing your snacks. And then after lunch, we have something that's called like rest and digest. So if you're coming out of that not so quiet cafeteria, they'll come in the room for about 15 minutes, and they bring a towel and they get a book box, and it's quiet reading, soft music, use the bathroom, and everybody just kind of digests for a little bit, and then we start going again around 2:00. So right after lunch, we have something that's called intervention block. It goes from 1:40 to about 2:20. And that block is designed so that any student that needs any additional help, they will get pulled from the core classroom and go work with a small group in another room. So additional help could be help with letters and sounds for ELA. It could be with number formation, number counting. It could be with speech services. It could be occupational therapy. or physical therapy for fine or gross motor. It could be a kids club, little counseling group. So we try to get everyone pulled out at the same time, leaving a few in the classroom that will be doing an activity with the teacher. So that way, if your child is going to an intervention, they're not missing the direct instruction in the classroom. So they're not like missing my awesome math lesson, they're gonna go later. So that's what our intervention block is all about. And I will tell you that we call them helper teachers, and every child wants to go to helper teacher. So if you get a little note or you get a call and then, hey, we're just gonna put a little bit of extra math out, don't panic. We call it early intervention because we're trying to get in there right now and give lots of extra help so that you don't need it later. So that's what happens during intervention block. But it's fabulous. We have great support people, and we would let you know if your child qualified or needed anything during that. And again, it happens after lunch, so they're not missing any direct instruction. Recess. So the question you hear the first day of kindergarten about 472 times is, what time is recess? In kindergarten, recess is at 2:45. It's at the end of the day. We try in the beginning of the year when the weather's nice just to go out anyway, like at 10, but it's not our assigned recess time. We have recess at the end of the day because we've done all of our incredible learning, and it's kind of a reward. We all go outside and play. In the winter, right now, when it's normally snowing, and they're putting on boots and snow pants and gloves and hats and coats, then they can just leave the playground and go home in those clothes, and they don't have to dress them a couple times during the day. So there's a couple of reasons, just so you know why recess is set for kindergarten at the end of the day. I know that sounds like really late in the day, but it does work. But in the beginning of the year, I promise we're taking them out like around 10 if we can, just getting them out there. We're taking our snacks outside and just getting some fresh air and playing because they need that developmentally. But that's when we have recess. So since I'm talking about winter and winter clothing, and it is winter, I would highly suggest that you try to help your child with zipping, putting on boots, putting on snow pants. I know UPK probably is doing some of that. Gloves, hats, and kind of the order they go in. So we have pictures up around the room so that you don't put on your boots and then pull your snow pants over them, and now your boot is stuck in your snow pants and you can't figure out how to get it out. So we kind of have like the list of what goes first and what goes second. Snow pants first, then boots. And then we try to say, don't put your gloves on until you're totally dressed, because it's hard to put like zip when you have these big giant mittens or your hat or whatever. So go through those routines with your child now, because the faster they're dressed, the faster they're outside and playing. So that's just a little bit about recess. Recess is also a time to build social skills, have a lot of fun, make friends. And it's also a time where sometimes boys and girls come to us and say, he's bullying me. And so we talk about what is bullying and what is just developmental play. So when you have 120 going out the same door at the same moment, it can be a little bit crazy. So we are teaching them, when is it your turn to get on the swing? Or you're at the top of the slide, should we stand at the bottom of the slide and get run over, or should we go back up and take our next turn? So all of those things may seem silly, but they're all really important developmental steps that we're taking in their development. So recess is, we feel, really, really important. So now I'm going to introduce Ms. Parker, who's going to come over and just tell you about the specials that we have during our kindergartners' wonderful day.
Thank you. So as Ms. Crowley-Brown mentioned before, we cycle through an A through F day cycle, and that coordinates with the special areas that your students will visit throughout those 6 days. So one of the favorite specials that I'm sure you will hear about from your students is PE, physical education. A great time for them to practice gross motor skills, coordination, and most importantly, cooperation. Similar to recess time, our PE teachers are amazing at teaching students team building, celebrating success with other students, and also they just have a lot of fun in there. So this is also why we want our students to wear sneakers, because this special happens 3 out of those 6 days. So they might go on A, C, and E days. So we want to make sure that those sneakers are always on deck just in case it happens to be a PE day and you forgot. They're also going to go to music class once out of a 6-day cycle. They're going to do a lot of rhythm, creative movement, a lot of singing, playing. They're going to experiment with some musical instruments.
And in June, we do have a concert where we invite parents in. And if you can't make it, it's okay because we do also live stream that concert. So music will be once every 6 days. They also get to visit the library when they are in kindergarten. And they will also go here once every 6 days. Mr. Duff is an incredible librarian. He usually starts the kindergarten sessions off with an amazing read aloud. He introduces them to all kinds of books and storytelling. They will visit that once every 6 days. They get to pick a book. And then on the next time they go back to the library, they can return that book and pick out a new one. So really exciting time for them to get exposed to a lot of different kinds of books. They also go to art class. This also happens once every 6 days. Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Music is twice every 6 days. And then art is once every 6 days. A lot of creativity. I'm sure you can see throughout our hallways, and if you've been in Parkdale before, there is student artwork showcase everywhere. It's amazing what Mrs. White does in that art room with the students, getting them exposed to all different types of materials and projects, and just a lot of fun yet again. And most exciting, our students do visit our STEAM lab when they're in kindergarten. So up there, they go once every 6 days, and they practice playing with Legos. They're building different block formations. And I was up there just the other day in kindergarten. They were rotating through 4 different centers, and one of them was all about force and motion. And they talked about friction. And I'm just like, what are they talking about? Because in kindergarten, but they got it because of the materials they were using that were so age appropriate for them. So this will be happening once every 6 days as well. So that's all of our specials that our kids get to go through. And I just want to give a very proud shout out to our parent teacher organization that is here today. In the back, we have Mrs. Sarah Horning and Becky O'Connor, 2 of our PTO members. Make sure you stop at their table to see them before you leave today. Our PTO is an extremely critical partnership here at Parkdale. We work very closely with them. They provide so many amazing opportunities for our students, from assemblies to STEAM night to literacy night, author visits. They truly are a cornerstone of this building and this organization. So we thank you guys for all of your support. If you want to join the PTO, we highly encourage it. We meet once a month. It's a lot of fun. But yes, they're going to come and just say a few words.
I'm gonna
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. My name is Sarah Horning, and I have Becky O'Connor with me. We're both on the PTO this year, and we're excited to be here tonight. We're excited that we were invited to share a little bit more about what we do and how you can get involved, particularly, whether you're a veteran parent and this is your last child coming to kindergarten, or if you are new to the community, or if this is your first child entering school. It's a great way to have an idea of what's going on in the school, ways to get involved. It really is just a nice feeling of knowing that you're connected to the school in another way, particularly on the heels of the pandemic. It felt like there weren't a lot of times that you could spend in school. So if you have older children, which is my story, I have an older child in 2nd grade, and the first few years that he was in school, it wasn't until parent-teacher conference this year that my husband said, "Oh, this is what Parkdale looks like," and that was his 3rd year in school. So I think that's really important, and it's been a great way for us to feel connected. In fact, I don't know if you have anything you want to share as well.
Sure, yeah, I would say I joined the PTO so I could, be more involved in the district, and you can join the PTO, we have positions, so Sarah is one of our co-presidents and one of our co-vice presidents, but you can also just attend PTO meetings, and there's always administration there, so Ms. Antoha or Ms. Parker are there. Right now, Mr. Duff is there a lot because we're running literacy night. We have a teacher representative, so it's really just a great way to hear about what's going on and ask questions if you ever have any questions, and also to learn about exciting events that we have coming up. We do fundraisers and activities and stuff like that.
So you will hear next year when your child's in kindergarten, you'll hear when we have PTO meetings. If you ever have ideas for fundraising, if you ever have ideas for activities that you would love to see in the school community, we would love to hear them. It's interesting every year that different people that join PTO bring their specific passion with them, whether it be something like a recycling initiative with a classroom, or wanting to be more involved in fundraising for a playground. People come with ideas and things that they would love to see in the community. That's a great place to have a voice and be involved. Thank you so much.
And so we did put the QR code up, so if anybody wants to take your phone out and scan that, that would go right to the PTO website.
I just have to, one more time, I just have to give a great big shout out to our amazing PTO. The wonderful opportunities that our children are provided with, based on the work of not only them, but our community. This year, we're super excited. We have an author, an actual author that's coming here, and it's all funded by the PTO. This year, the district was able to take over field trips. So we are really looking for innovative ways to engage students. And it's just a really engaging opportunity to get involved. And so even if you just want to come in, I mean, we did a few of our meetings during the winter for convenience online, but we open up back up to come in person as the weather gets better. And it is just a wonderful way to connect, especially if you're new.
I don't deserve that because PTO is amazing. They help us so much. We have awesome events. We have an Oktoberfest. We have send up to summer. The bounce house is outside, and we have musicians come in and assemblies, all done by the PTO. So they really, really support us. So feel free to join them because we'd love to have more people. Okay, so we're going to just talk about a couple of dates to remember. For those of you that just got your registration packets, we just want to remind you that before you complete them and bring them back to Mrs. Marshall, that they are 100% complete. Some of the things that are often forgotten are notary and proof of residency, like the bills.
Proofs of residence, we ask one being current. That would be a driver's license. We ask for the most current physical immunizations. We understand some of them are going to be a little younger, that's fine. You do have time to submit one, but we'd like to see that they're on track. There you go. Other than that,
Is your March 20th the close?
March 20th is what we're aiming for that day.
We're aiming for it. Doesn't mean that if someone moves in, we're still gonna register people all year long, but we're aiming to try it always helps us to get early registration, because then we can get screening and all of those things that need to happen after to ensure we're well planned for the start of the school year.
And that really does make a huge difference. I mean, especially as a teacher, if March 20th, we have 40 students registered, ooh, we're gonna pass 5. But if on March 21st, 200 students show up, then we need to be talking about going to a budget meeting and saying, we need another teacher. So it's really important that you do please register your child by March 20th. Obviously, if you need to take a tube. We're not gonna commit. But please get everything in the packet, because Mrs. Marshall will only accept them if they're complete.
Again, we want to reiterate, if you currently have a time here at Parkdale, that registration is a lot shorter, and you'll be getting those packets home, I believe, Monday.
In the folders? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so kindergarten screening, now, this will be another clarification.
No, it's 2 days kindergarten and 2 days UPK, our UPK class.
So if your child is currently in the pre-K, the screening will happen during the school day when they're here. If your child is not currently at Parkdale, then we'll be sending something out after registrations are done, and our screening days are May 8th and 9th, and you'll have to bring them in for about an hour and have them screened, just so that you know. We're gonna be doing like some letter sounds, some cutting, some verbal things, just a quick screen, and we try to get them all scored and talk to you right afterwards, depending on, again, how many people we have and what the schedule looks like. If for some reason it's really jammed and we can't talk to you, then we would, make a phone call or send you another email. So once screening is done, registration is done, and then we start placing kids in classrooms.
Can I ask a quick question? If your student is at UPK and they're screening during school, will something come home that day so that you know?
I would say not that day, but within a couple of days. Yeah, because they'll be putting all that data in, and then they'll have something in an envelope and it'll be in the folder. Yeah. And pretty,
We can also have Ms. Kerr do a quick remind for all the UPK, to make sure that you're aware of that. Okay. When it does happen. Thank you. No problem.
and so then after all that's done, we're gonna get to the summer mailing. So you're gonna be so excited, going, oh, what's my child have? So in the summer, around August 1st, August 5th, 6th, whenever around there, a letter will come home from your child's classroom teacher. It will include an introductory letter, so you can meet them. It will have an additional possible supply or two that teacher might need. And it will also have a supply list that is generally given out for all kindergartens. That general supply list will also be available at screening, and will go home in all pre-K folders in May. So if you want to get the early bird, and they put those specials out in June and school's not even closed yet, you can start your school supplies for the following year. School bus information will not be in that letter. School bus information comes out kind of late, so don't panic. It's like end of August, right? Yeah. So a lot of times people are like, oh my gosh, I don't know what my bus is yet. It could be that last week right before school starts. So that's a separate mailing that comes from first student, just so that you know. Over the summer in that mailing, we'll also ask you to, or you'll be assigned a supply drop-off time. So that will most likely be one of the first days right before school starts. So I don't know the calendar offhand yet.
The district calendar pins when we have our supply drop off. So as soon as we get the next year district calendar, it's when we will create our day for supply drop off. And that's a really important time. That's when most parents like, the child to come in, see the teacher, kind of get to know where they're walking in, and that's when that happens.
Right, so if, let's say Labor Day is on a Monday, obviously, and then we don't start school until Wednesday, we would have supply drop off on Tuesday. So we do it before school starts. You'll be assigned about a 45-minute block or so. You get to come in, bring the supplies, see the classroom, meet the teacher. We'll put bus tags on everybody's backpacks. So we're all set for the next day. Give you like a take-home folder, give you whatever you need. And also let you know that open house will be coming out that week as well. So open house may be, just so you know, the first day of kindergarten that evening or the second day. So it's that first week. Try to get everybody in right away so we can answer all of your questions and clear everything up. So it'll be very early. So those are just a couple of things to keep in mind for future dates.
That's just kindergarten, and we do
Just
that at
kindergarten.
because we understand that kindergarten parents a lot of times have more questions than other parents, and so we want to get that opportunity to get in and talk with teachers. That is adult only, and that's when your teacher,
Open house, yeah.
the teacher will be in the classroom. She'll talk about their teaching routines, and any questions that you might have will be addressed at that point.
And at the supply drop-off day, there will be a bus parked outside. So you can go out, you can board the bus with your child, you can take some cute pictures, but that's available at supply drop-off day as well. Mrs. Marshall's getting phone calls. Okay. So I think we're at, how we keep in touch with you. There's lots of communication. So we have the school to home take home folder that goes home every single day. So you can always look for that in the folder. We ask you to empty it every day. Most teachers have either a Google Classroom or a website or some way to keep in touch with you. Parkdale has Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Instagram as well. Very social media based. There is a peak of the week that comes out from Ms. Mantola on Sunday before the girls' game. And then Tuesday folders are also digitally sent out.
And Tuesday folders, just so you know, a lot of people get confused about that. That's just a spot where we place all kinds of information or flyers that we would normally send home that sometimes get lost and end up under the bed somewhere. But we have an electronic file that you can access anytime by simply going to the website. And a lot of times when we have activities, say for example, we have our STEAM night coming up, the flyers in there in case you forget, you can always go on your phone and easy access.
Yeah, it saves a lot of paper and it's easier for the kids at home to bring all that home. So that's a great resource as well. And then all of the teachers use an app called Remind. I would imagine if you're here in pre-K already, those teachers are using it as well. The whole district does. It's just you sign up really quickly and then I shoot you a quick text message like I just sent one out today saying, don't forget tomorrow's library day. So everybody brings your library books in. It's just like a quick communication tool that the teachers use to communicate with you if we need you. And open house, we did talk about adults only, sometime the first week of school. And that's for, you can also ask any questions you might have of individual teachers. This is just some pictures of the classrooms. So you have an idea of what they look like. Each classroom is equipped with a smart board and everybody uses those all the time. And each student is also issued a Chromebook, so we are 1-to-1. And depending on how your teacher does it, some may come home, some may come home on Friday, some may just stay in school. So each classroom does something a little bit different, but students are on Chromebooks often in kindergarten. And they have logins, they have little scanning cards, and they learn how to scan their card, and they get on the computer and they log. And I think that was, oh yeah.
Well, I think this is the most important part. If you asked me, we talked a lot and we gave you a lot of information. For some of you, the information is really not so new. You've had children go through Parkdale. For others, it might be, wow, this is a lot. So this is your time. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you will be waiting around, if there are anything on your mind, today's not the only opportunity for you to engage with us. We invite you out to our June picnic. Come on, if you're not even a Parkdale registered person, we love having you. It will give you a great glimpse into what you have in store for you. Amazing community, wonderful opportunities, and we're really glad to have you here tonight. So again, any questions for us up here? Yeah, Michelle.
How long is the actual school day?
We start at 9 o'clock and we end at 3:30. We start there's a transitional time. And a staggered dismissal, if you will. Our pre-K and our K usually dismiss a little bit ahead of all the other students because there's a process, especially to pick up. And prior to school, we send out a blast that talks specifically about the right for this semester. And so you'll get some like artifacts, maps, for those of you who are new and love maps, because it gives you a picture of you of where to go and what exit to enter and where you can pick up children and so on and so forth.
And so within that like 6.5 hour day, they'll be at lunch for like 40 minutes. They'll be at a special
All of those
for
special
about 40 minutes. So it's not just, not all working for 6.5 hours. It's 40 minutes, but you do really have enough time. Yeah, the beginning of the year takes longer because, like I said, you gotta open the bananas and all those things. But now they're probably done with 30 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually have activities down there for when they do.
Yeah, we will talk about it.
They eat pretty quick now, yes.
Other questions I did see. We'll go right here, we'll go right down the.
For kindergarten bus drop off, is it in front of the house or is it about?
It depends. If you live in the village, it tends to be closest corner. You're in the town, it does tend to be the house. The only thing, depending on the age of your students, like if there's fourth graders that live next door to each other, they might have like a mutual.
More questions, I have them here.
I would say, are there any after school like care or clubs that agree to pay?
Yeah.
Like girl club or the clubs that you guys have?
Yeah, that's a great question. Boys and Girls Club here in East Shore does offer after school daycare or assistance. There's one group that's here at Parkdale, and I will tell you, it's hard to get into because it's very limited with the number that can be here. And then the majority of the students get on the bus and they all go over to King and are over there. So Boys and Girls Club does offer that. We also have after school, it's not really more of like a daycare, but we offer a few clubs that we have like a Spanish club or a chess club.
Community, I know,
Yeah,
a lot of ones at after school that are hosted here, so what would happen is you would get a flyer, and that flyer would be accessible in either the Tuesday folder. You might get a weekly reminder when it first comes out from the blast that I sent out on Sunday. And then you can go back and register for some of the community opportunities that are out there. We try to really offer some of those opportunities. Middle school and high school, they have tons of clubs, and unfortunately, we just started our very first club here this year. Super excited. Mr. Duff, our librarian, is doing a podcast club. And so we have some of our fourth graders doing podcasts about what's going on in Parkdale. It's an amazing experience that they're seeing. So we are advocating for more clubs. Again, the enrichments that we have going on and so on and so forth are great. And the Boys and Girls Club is has hosted here for years, and they've been a really close partner with Parkdale. And that information will go out to in the summer emails that we give out.
About the question, if there's more than one like drop off,
Like if they go to daycare, drop off like for, after care, and they're excited to get home.
As long as it's not scheduled.
Okay.
Like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, going home, Tuesday, Thursday, going to the boys and girls.
We ask this is very important, and it's great, that I have you all here, because it's a great time to reinforce this. We ask that if you have changes, if there's an emergency, we certainly understand, but come 2:50, 2:45, we are starting our process for dismissal and calling that at that late of a time unless it's an emergency. It's very difficult for changes. So just keep that in the back of your mind. If you have things that are going on, certainly families need to, make changes. And we understand that, and our office staff is amazing. But please be sure that if you're calling, don't wait to the last minute to call to make a change.
And if you ride the bus, but one day you're going to the dentist and you need to pick somebody up early, like 2:30, 2:45, that's absolutely fine. But we just need a note to make sure that that's all set up in advance, so we know, we get the students back up earlier, we get them down to the main desk, so everybody can be ready. You know, you can be stuck in the buses. So, I mean, it's totally fine if that's what you have to do, but we just need notes in advance. If you call it like 2:40 and go, oh, I forgot to send a note, then it's harder because they might be on the playground, they might not be packed up yet. And it's more like a difficult process.
It's hard, we have, almost 700 students here, so it's quite an effort. And it just begins earlier, and I think people, because we dismiss later, they're not aware that we're starting that dismissal process in a staggered manner to make sure everyone's out where they need to be and where they need to be.
What if you're talking to actually apply with a blog, say, for a day? You did a proper have about, it's by the time you don't want, rather than.
Yeah, as long as we have else, they get a bus pass.
Yes, and the more advanced notice, the better, just because if we're putting them on another bus with a different driver who doesn't know your family, at that point, they take it very seriously. They want to make sure that they're getting off the right place.
It's a very, if you think about even things like that, you're probably not thinking of, we think about it all the time, but the bus driver calls in because they're sick. There's a change in the bus driver. They don't know what's coming. It's very, yeah, those are the realities of what we deal with, and we have a great, well-run operation, and if we work together and those kinds of things will come up and you help us by planning accordingly, it works out for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's basically, I'm an electrician, so they can touch base with the driver. That way they know that child is coming, that child is going to get out here,
I got a question in the back, and we'll come right up here.
Yeah, just sure about the distribution age of the kids in the class, like our kids can be in September, or like it's 35 is kind of fall.
Yeah,
It depends on the group. Yeah, it depends on the group. We don't take huge age into consideration when we do the placement. We really want it to be just kind of blended. Because we find that, a 6-year-old may need as much help as a 5-year-old, or a 5-year-old might be acting like a 6-year-old. So just looking at that number isn't gonna really help us when we do our placement, but it's gonna be a blend. So yeah, you're definitely gonna have 4-year-olds coming in, turning 5 in September and October and into November. And then from December 1st on, you're gonna get 5-year-olds turning 6. So it's not an exact distribution. So we just, we do kind of note it so that the whole class isn't turning, in the same month, but we do kind of make a blend when we make a placement.
great thing that many of our students are growing up. This opportunity is really different for us this year because we have so many families that have been with us like in pre-K, and so it's easier to roll those families up than it is to have new families, and now we have that mix. So don't worry if you have questions. Even if you have questions after today, a couple of days, our emails are all on the district website and we're very accessible. So don't hesitate to reach out and ask a question that's individualized to you. If this isn't the right setting for you, and you feel a little bit like I wanted to ask that, but I wasn't quite sure, send an email. I'm really good at 48 days. We'll use 48 days. That's a lot. 48 hours. Might just get back to the, usually.
I'm ready.
I'm getting in there. I have a question in the back there.
Yeah, what is the latest you could do pick up if you're going to what's the time that it's like not acceptable?
Kindergarten right now pickup, I would say it's about between 3:20 and 3:25.
Because kindergarten pickup happens right here, at this entrance, and usually they're down here by like 3:05, 3:10. And since there's not a ton of them, that pickup usually happens pretty quickly. So yeah, usually by like 3:20, 3:25, they're all picked up. And that's about the time our buses are leaving as well. So that's typically like the end of dismissal. But obviously the first few days are a little different because it does take a little extra time.
My son is a walker, you know, walkers get out of that. 3:07.
UPK comes a little earlier, yeah. Yes, yeah.
It'll be a little bit later because we're on the playground. I don't know if you've seen that. We're on the playground till about 3:07, depending on the weather, 3:10. And then we all come in and then walkers. So,
You go back in and
so UPK kind of goes out before us and then we come in and so it'll be the next batch. So
And
it'll
I'm
be
trying to
the
stay
next
low.
Yeah. So a couple, maybe 5 minutes, 7 minutes later.
So I have saved that question. They were about bus drivers. I think on Friday, I looked at the bus drivers and they all amazing. I just,
my daughter's room.
I just thought with class that if they can just wait 2 seconds, they did sit down.
Agreed.
Bubble down, you let them on, and you just gotta take them.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, it's, trust me, I stand outside, my children are seniors and my other one's a freshman. I stand up with people that every single day. That is my time to talk to them. And it's, you know, so I think bus drivers, but like, we always have to remember, like, bus drivers, their job is to make sure they get to and from safely. And yes, they definitely should be, you know, it's the anxiety of them. I can't imagine doing that. Every children in the back seat is getting them the next one, the next stop, the next stop.
You just think, let me sit down.
Oh, yeah.
And you just told the right person.
Yes.
Just rush something.
And everybody else. With walkers, is there any staff members standing out there just in case there's an emergency, you know, they can.
Yes, yes. All around the school, we got different personnel with staff that stand out there. Sometimes even our own. Any other questions? Like I said again, this does not have to be the last. Don't worry, I know there's a lot of time before the end of the year. Things might come out over the summer. Yeah. Tonight, we don't have the building. Tonight, we don't. However, when you come in and if you scream if you're new, we have our fourth graders do docents tours. They get tours. They love
really
it. They show you everything about Parkdale. They have a little field that they do. So it's really cute.
So then
And
that
then
in there,
when you're
and then
waiting,
like drop off.
yeah, for the kids to do the grade. Yeah, so we'll go find that.
We're all on the same floor, we're all together.
Yes. They're-
Also, the other day, kindergarten, is open to see, I just had trouble, is it for pre-K students?
Oh, yeah. In fact, we have two, two of our pre-K teachers are actually doing station.
Okay.
And it's an amazing night with tons to do for your family. And, yeah, absolutely. Pre-K, please come. And if you're a new family, come too. We're inviting you March 16th, March 16th, 6 to 8, right here in Parkdale. You'll see all the school.
Oh, yeah.
Open, come on in. We'd love to have you. It's gonna be a wonderful evening. It's like 6 to 8 yeah. 6 to 8.
If real quick with registrations, when you have your registration packet, not necessarily, so people who have kids in the current UPK class, you're going to fill out all the information, you're going to send it back in with your children. Or you can drop it off in front desk. If you do not have a child in the UPK and you're getting registration here tonight, or I mail them out, go to the website, there's a thing on the registration that says make an appointment to bring it back. And I will, after this UPK, I am going to open the schedule up and then you can just schedule a time that's best for you. If you do not see a time that is good for you, please email me. I am flexible. I am here forever. Basketball practice goes to 5 or 6 o'clock. I'm here. I can work something out for you. I don't want you necessarily to take a half a day of work for 5-10 minute appointments.
Does it usually be notarized before we come for the
Yes.
appointment?
It does.
Because it's a complete package.
Go to the bank, you can go to the town hall, like Curd UPS store, because I encourage everybody, that one I'm not sure about. But I know the town hall and banks are the big ones.
Once again, we thank you for coming out. We hope that you found this to be a very informal kind of conversation in the beginning. Please try out great meeting. I don't need to give all of this.